But we all know Serie A, we all know FIGC, we all know Italian football. Fuck that. Fuck that. You're getting relegated. Before I get to my other news bit here, I'll talk about the relegation playoff spot between Frosinone and Salernitana, which is crazy because both these two teams were recently in Serie A, and now they're battling out to see who gets relegated to Serie C and who stays in Serie B. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about a team we thought was already relegated, Sampdoria. We thought they were done and dusted. Back-to-back relegations, atrocious, horrible for Italian football, because that derby between them and Genoa may never happen again because the team could fold. Who knows what the hell could happen with them? They could just go out to the abyss and disappear. But they were thrown a lifeline. I was not prepared for this. I know they weren't prepared for this. And you know who else wasn't prepared for this? Brescia was prepared for this. This comes from Football Italia, but I've heard this in multiple sources as well. Sampdoria handed major lifeline and could now avoid relegation to Serie C. An earthquake decision to hand Brescia a 4-point deduction in Serie B means that Sampdoria, who had been relegated at the end of the regular season, are set to be given a second chance at survival in the relegation playouts. Sampdoria, who were relegated from Serie A at the end of the 2023 campaign, finished in the 24-25 season 18th place in Serie B with a tally of 41 points in 38 games, which was not enough to spare them from the drop. How Serie B relegation works: 4 teams are usually relegated from at the end of the season. The bottom 3 teams are relegated directly. The team that finishes in 17th, 4th from bottom, will also join them unless the gap between them and the team in 16th is 4 points or less. In that scenario, the final relegation spot is decided by a 2-leg playout. Why Sampdoria could be saved from Serie B relegation? According to reports from La Gazzetta dello Sport, there has been a major shakeup following a decision to hand a 4-point deduction to Brescia, who finished the season 15th on 43 points. Brescia's points deduction comes as a result of irregularities surrounding the payment of players and staff in the month of February. Once their points deduction is officially confirmed, Brescia will drop to 18th place, which relegates them directly and pushes Sampdoria up to 17th and Salernitana into 16th. With just 1 point separating Sampdoria and Salernitana in the standings, the final relegation playoff will now be decided by these 2 teams in Serie B in a relegation playout. The biggest beneficiaries of the decision are Frosinone. So this is interesting because I knew that the game between Frosinone and Salernitana was postponed. That was the game that was going to determine who was being relegated. I wasn't sure why. And then I found out Brescia, with these irregularities, gave Sampdoria a lifeline. So now Frosinone, if they do get the deduction, Frosinone will be saved, and you'll have Salernitana and Sampdoria in a playout to see who gets relegated or who survives. From what I read in other articles is that Brescia obviously don't want the 4-point deduction to take place this season. They want it to take place next season. So what they're saying is keep us in Serie B and give us the start of the season next year with 4-point deduction. Now, common sense would tell you, fuck that. Fuck that. You're getting relegated. You made that stupid ass decision this year, so you get the 4-point deduction this year. And you should be relegated and let Salernitana against Sampdoria to see who can survive the league. Frosinone gets thrown a lifeline, a major lifeline. But we all know Serie A, we all know FIGC, we all know Italian football. What is going to happen? I can almost bet on right now that Brescia somehow win this appeal. They stay in Serie B and get a 4-point deduction next season. Brescia, Sampdoria is too, but Brescia is also one of the well-known Serie A clubs. They've had some tremendous players come out from them. Roberto Baggio's, Andrea Pirlo's, Sandro Tonali's the role. Obviously, Sampdoria had a whole slew of players that come through them. And Sampdoria they won the title once. But, it would not surprise me the least bit as messed up as the league is and Italian football is. They made some bonehead decisions on a lot of key issues, right? Piracy is their number one concern in Serie A. So it would not surprise me if Brescia somehow survived this season and got the deduction for next season. Though we all know Brescia should be relegated right now with the 4-point deduction and let Sampdoria and Salernitana play it out. We all know that, right? Let's see what the chat says here. Dom says, wow, that's crazy. Sorry for Ilione, but I'm all with my Blucchiarti, yeah? Pep, yep, thank you. Pep also played for Brescia, 100%. Whoever has more influence with FIGC, basta. Yeah, and my worry is that Brescia does. That wouldn't make sense. I would think Sampdoria does, but maybe they don't get a say in this. If it comes down between Frosinone and Brescia, it's going to be Brescia. If you're talking about who has more pull, who's going to pull between Salernitana and Brescia, it's Brescia. Sampdoria and Brescia, I don't know if Sampdoria's going to have a say in this at all, but maybe they do, and maybe they have more say. I don't know. I really don't know. It depends on how well the owners are with the league. Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this. I don't know when the decision will be made for this. It has to be soon because Salernitana Frosinone was postponed because of this issue. So hopefully we hear about this soon. I imagine it would have to be in the next weeks if not week. Never trust a word Gravina says. 100%. I would imagine this decision had to come fairly quickly within the next 7 to 10 days because it's major implications on Serie B and Serie C. Stay tuned for that. Tonali should pay FIGC the money he made from gambling. Yeah. Well, then Brescia's definitely stayed in then. So that's a crazy story there. We'll see. Keep an eye on this for sure. Wow, this is going to be major. And, you know, if Brescia survives, woo, that'll be something, man. That'll be something, man. Very funny, Sanjar. Very funny.